Good afternoon, everybody. It's so wonderful to be back here at the Talmud Lunch and Learn. And we're coming to you live from the Torch Center. Thank you for joining us. This is the second in the Thinking Talmudist series, where we're going to take select pieces of Talmud and discuss them, learn them together, and hopefully enlighten our lives to greater heights. So that is our hope, and welcome aboard. Okay, so we are going to be learning a piece of Talmud on the bottom of page 30B in Tractate Shabbat, and this is the Talmud that talks about Hillel, right, and the incredible qualities of Hillel. So let's dig into this piece of Talmud. The Gemara cites an example of ways the sages responded to sarcastic and otherwise improper questions. Tanu Rabbanon, the rabbis taught in a brisa, La'olam Yehei Adam Anvasan Ki Hillel. One should always strive to be humble and gentle in his ways, like Hillel. Ve'al Yeh Kapton Ki Shammai. And let one not be stern and unyielding like Shammai. Okay, so the Gemara is already giving us a statement about Hillel and a statement about Shammai. Shammai was kind and gentle and forgiving and loving and humble, and Hillel was stern. He was tough. And if you remember, we had this discussion about the two different forces in this world. We have kindness.
It's opposite.
Sorry, Shammai was the one who was tough, and Hillel was the kind and gentle. So the Brisa illustrates this with a story. How Shammai and Hillel, and we'll get into several of the different stories depending on the time we have today. It once happened that two people had a bet between one another. Amru, they said, Kol mi sheyelich v'yaknet es Hillel, whoever goes and provokes Hillel to lose his temper, Yitol arba meo zuz, will let him take 400 zuz as a prize. Okay? So imagine you have this bet. Let's see if you can get this person irritated. Let's see if you can get them upset. I give you 400 gold coins. Omar echad mehem. Thereupon one of them said, Ani aknitenu. I will provoke him. Challenge is on. Right? So the Brisa recounts the event that followed. Oh, so hayom erev Shabbos haya. That day, it so happened to be, it was Friday, the eve of Shabbos. It was right before Shabbos, and we know that in every Jewish home, before Shabbos, it's chaos. You're cooking, and you're cleaning, and you're showering, and you're doing everything, all your preparations, because on Shabbos you can't bathe, and on Shabbos you can't cook, and on Shabbos you can't clean, right? So we're going to get everything ready. We're getting our houses ready for Shabbos. It says also, by the way, that the sages would take a broom and they would clean away all spider webs, and they would sweep up their houses. And if you walk in the streets of Jerusalem, you have to be careful when you're walking on the sidewalk on Shabbat, on Friday, because people are doing. Anyone know what spongia is? Spongia is you throw water on the floor, right, and with soap, and they make sure that the floors are all marble there, or granite, or different tile, and they just sweep. What are you going to do with all that dirty water from all the dust and everything that's collected? They have by their porch, they have this little pipe, and they brush it to the porch, right? And the pipe, and you're walking under, and you get all that water dripping on your head, right? Nice. But that's the tradition. You walk in Israel, you just be careful, right? Because everyone's cleaning their houses, getting ready for Shabbos, and it's that stress right before Shabbos, like So this individual says, it's Friday. This is a great time to bother Hillel. The Hillel chafaf es rosha, and Hillel was busy washing his hair in preparation for Shabbos. He was in the bathhouse. Halach ve'ovar al Pesach beiso ve'omar. As he was doing this person who was in this bet went and passed by the doorway of the house, calling, Mi kan Hillel, Mi kan Hillel. Who is Hillel around here? Who is Hillel here? Nis'ate fiyatzel ikroso. Hillel put on his towel, and he got dressed, and he went out to greet this person. Amar lo, he said to him, B'ni ma'ata mevakesh, my son, what do you seek? What are you looking for? Amar lo, the person replied to him, She'ela yesh li lishol. I have an important question to ask you. Amar lo, Sha'al b'ni Sha'al, ask my son, ask. Hillel replied, Mipnei ma roshehem shel bavliim. On a Friday afternoon, it's busy, it's all chaotic. He's in the shower. What are we going to ask Hillel? He says, I want to know, why do the Babylonians have a head that is so round? It's more like a football-shaped head. Amar lo, Hillel replied to him, B'ni she'ela gdola sha'alta. He says, my son, you've asked a truly profound question. He says, Mipnei she'en lehem choyos pikchos. He says, the reason is because they don't have skillful midwives. Right? And the way they deliver the babies, right? The babies weren't, right? He says like this, he says, the midwives improperly shape the head of the infant at birth. And one of the commentaries explains that Hillel's answer also contains a deeper meaning in which he was alluding to certain elements of the Babylonian national character. That their character is a little bit also crooked. Right? It's a little bent also, a little bent out of shape, right? Either way, this is not an insult to all of our Persian friends, but you know what they say. You know why the Persians have a characteristic of being very tight on money. They're very tight. They can have their pockets are filled with money, but they're very tight on spending. They say, the big community, the big Jewish Persian community in New York is in Great Neck, New York. Anybody know why they picked Great Neck? So they say it's because it's the last exit before the tolls. Right? It's just a little bit on the Persians, right? I'm sorry. So that's what they say. I think it was I told it to a few Persians. They said, "You're right." So they don't have bright midwives, skillful midwives. Holach v'himtin sha'achas, the person went out and waited for a little while. Chazar v'amar, and then he returned to the front of Hillel's house and called out. He says, Mikan Hillel, who over here is Hillel? Who over here is Hillel? Nis'atef yatzul akros, so Hillel again puts on his cloak and goes out and greets the person. Amarlo b'ni ma'ata mevakesh, my son, what is it that you seek? She'ela yesh li lishol, he says, I have an important question to ask you. Mipnei ma einein shel tarmodiin terutos. He says, why are the people who live in the Far East, why are their eyes the way they are? So Amar lehem, he replied to him, B'ni she'ela gdola sha'alti. You had a great question. This is a fantastic question. He says, Mipnei shedorin bein acholos, because they live in a sandy terrain. And in the sandy terrain, there's a lot of sand that's being blown. So Hashem created their eyes in a special way so that the sand doesn't get into their eyes. Wow. Holach v'himtin, right? Just the commentary says over here. He says God gave them rounded eye sockets so that during windstorms they would have better protected from blowing sand. Right? Okay. Very, very trivial questions, by the way. Very, very important to know why. Yeah, especially right before Shabbos when right? Okay. So, okay. Holach v'himtin sha'acha. So this individual waits a little bit. Hillel gets back into the shower. He's trying to finally finish his shower, and Chazar Amar, and he comes back and he calls out, Mikan Hillel, Mikan. Who over here is Hillel? Who over here is? And just take a second to understand this, okay? First is, who is Hillel? Hillel is no schoolboy, okay? Mm-hmm. And it's not like he's coming to say, oh, is the rabbi here? Is there someone I can find? It's like, who? Mikan Hillel. Who over here is Hillel? Right? It's like, right? Who is? Imagine, it's like, it's like you want to have some respect, have some dignity for the rabbi. You're talking about Hillel, Right? He was the leader of a yeshiva, of a school of thousands of students. And he's bothering him, calling him with disrespect. What are you bothering the guy? Right? So he's calling again. Where is Hillel? Where is Hillel? Anybody know where Hillel is? It's like he was just here already twice. You think the third time he'd figure it out? Again, with total disregard, total disrespect. So nisate fiyatzel likroso. Hillel once again put on his cloak and went out to greet him. Amar lo, he said to him, Bini ma'ata mevakesh, with all the love in the world. My son, what question do you have? What is it? Amar lo, he said, I have an important question. She'ela yesh li lishol. I have an important question to ask you. Amar lo, sha'al b'ni sha'al. My son, ask, my son, ask. He says, Mipnei ma ragleim shel Afrikim rechavos. He says, why is it that the feet of the Africans are so wide? Why do they have big feet? He says, Amar lo, he says to him, B'ni she'ela gdola sha'alta. My son, you've asked a profound question. Mipnei shedorin ben bitzei hamayim, is because they live in the swamplands. In the swamplands, you have quicksand, and they have they can immediately sink into the ground. So Hashem gave them a special gift of wider feet, so that they don't sink into the ground. Isn't that amazing? I mean, you'd think that of all things, right? So, all things to ask Hillel, this is what they ask. But I think what's more incredible about this is that Hillel doesn't lose his temper.
Yeah.
He doesn't lose his temper.
Right.
Okay. Having failed to exacerbate... yes. So having failed to get Hillel to get angry with his earlier questions, the person made his last statement as follows. Amar lo, he says to Hillel, She'elos harba yesh li lishol. I have many questions to ask you. Umisyore ani shema tichos. And I'm fearful, this is his last way to dig into Hillel and get him irritated, right? He says, I'm fearful that you may become angry with me. Right? Nisate v'yoshav lefanav Amar lo. Hillel wrapped himself in his cloak, sat down in front of the person and said to him, Kol she'elos sheyesh l'cha lishol. Any questions that you have, feel free to ask me. No worries. Don't be afraid. You can ask me anything in the world that you want. See, he says, Amar lo, he says to Hillel, Atahu Hillel shekor noscha nesi Yisrael. Are you the great Hillel, whom they call the Nasi, the prince of the Jewish people? Amar lo hein, he says, yes. Amar lo, im atahu, he says, if this is you, if it's indeed you, lo yirbu kamoscha b'Yisrael, that let there not be like you among many like you among the Jewish people. Let there not be many like you among Israel. Meaning, cursing him, that no one should be like you. Right? Amar lo, b'ni mipnei ma, my son. Why? Why don't you want it to be anything like me? Right? Why? What did I do to you? Amar lo mipnei she'ibadati al yodcha arba me'ozuz. He says, because on your account I have lost 400 zuz. And he revealed to Hillel the wager that he made. Amar lo hevizori beruchacho. Hillel responded to him, said, one should always vigilantly guard his disposition so that he maintains equanimity in all situations. He says, Kedai hu Hillel sheta'abed al yodo daled meo zuz, v'daled meo zuz, v'Hillel lo yakbid. He says it is worth for you to lose 400 zuz and another 400 zuz so that Hillel not get angry. All right? So we have to put this together. Right? So first is they have this wager. I don't know why anybody would have a wager to try to just fool around with someone. Let's see if you can get him angry. Mm-hmm. Right? So I think that that's number one. I think that that's the first thing, is that I don't think, they've tried many, many times to try to trick the sages. I just recently, equanimity means to have a calmness. This is one of our questionnaires online here. Looks like a Hillel to me. So you have the following. First is, there was a question once that was asked to a rabbi, and someone was trying to poke at the rabbi, and it's sort of to mock the rabbi. This is something I don't want to mention the names, but the individual was trying to just poke at the rabbi. The person disagreed with the rabbi on a specific matter having to do with the politics in Israel, and the rabbi and this individual confronted the rabbi in front of one of his lectures. He would have hundreds of people at the lecture. He confronted the rabbi and was sort of poking fun at the rabbi publicly. And the rabbi gave this individual a very sharp statement. And this individual, I think it was that he shouldn't have any children or something. That he shouldn't have, basically, that such a person who behaves in such a way shouldn't have descendants come out of him in because of the way he's acting. Very harsh. The person got married, this young man, and not only that, he got married, but he couldn't have any children. And then after many years, he was concerned that maybe it was this curse. He went to several rabbis, and the rabbi said, you have nothing to worry about. Still, he tried everything, and nothing was working. Finally, he spoke to someone. They said, this rabbi is very, very powerful words, and if you don't go to the rabbi himself, nothing's going to change for you. So he decided he's going to go, and he met with the rabbi, and he told him. The rabbi remembered exactly the incident, and he remembered what he told him. And the rabbi told him, sit here on the floor in front of the whole class that he was giving to this group of people, and ask forgiveness. And so he did, and the rabbi nullified his words, and eventually, and 9 months later, the rabbi was the sandik, was the godfather at the bris of this person's baby. There's a story that's told about the Reb Chaim Ozer. Reb Chaim Ozer was one of the great rabbis who was leading Torah Jewry pre-Holocaust. And there was a big dispute between two publishing houses who had the rights to publish the Talmud. And there was a family of a widow, and there was another family that they were both both print houses wanted the rights, and they were arguing, and they brought the case to Reb Chaim Ozer, who was the leading Torah scholar, the leading decider. So the rabbi hears the case, and he decided with one of the parties, and the other party went around town and they said terrible things about the Reb Chaim Ozer. And Reb Chaim Ozer didn't do anything, but terrible things happened to that family, and they came to ask forgiveness from Reb Chaim Ozer. They said that they paid him off, they bought him off, and it was bribery and whatever it was, and he wasn't really fair, and he wasn't really a neutral party to the case, and there was prejudice, etc. So they came back to ask the rabbi forgiveness, and the rabbi said, I can't forgive. He says, if it was just me, then you're right, I can forgive. But I represent the Jewish people. So it's the entire Jewish people that you offended. It's the entire Jewish people. I think it's just a way for us to understand that when you're dealing with a Hillel, when you're dealing with a great sage, a scholar, the offense that one makes to them, it says, for example, a king cannot forgive his own honor. Why? Because it's not his honor. It's all of his constituents' honors. Right? It's the honor of all of his followers. It's the honor of his entire kingdom. For him to forgo his own honor, it's not your honor to forgo. It's like these individuals that say that if God forbid something happens, someone is a drunk driver, and they kill someone, so the family forgives the person. What right do you have to forgive? This person is dead, and you're forgiving the right. What right do you have to forgive? You have no authority to forgive, right? It's a very, I think here it's one of the things that we're learning from Hillel, is that a sage doesn't have the right to forgive the honor of his people. His own honor maybe, but when you become a public figure, it's no longer your honor. It's the honor of the people you serve. And the rabbi, especially the one who made him sit, he had to do something to restore that person. It means that person needed to make a tikkun, a repair for his own wrongdoing. The rabbi, right? The rabbi will, I'm sure the rabbi would happily forgive without a problem. But it's not his honor to forgive. It's the people's honor. Okay, so if the people are now find in their heart to forgive, now the rabbi can. So I think it's important to understand, like, what's a big deal? What's such a big deal if Hillel just loses his temper? You know, what's the big deal? Because, you know, they say that anger is like a vessel, right? A person's character is in a glass, very delicate vessel. Anger is you taking that vessel and cracking it. It all falls apart. When a person is angry, all of the person, the whole character of the person is being shattered when we get angry. And something we have to be very, very careful about, not to allow anger to overcome us. Now, each of these questions that this individual asked, they're not random questions. I think they also lead us to a great understanding of the perfection that God created this world with. Every single person has what they need to fulfill their role in this world, right? To the Africans, they need the wider feet so that they don't drown, and for the people, they don't sink into the earth, right? The people with the eyes is so that they don't have the winds blow into their eyes, and those with the heads, it's because everyone has something that they need to fulfill their role. We've discussed this numerous times, that every character, every person, every single person around this table, every person watching this online, and every person on planet Earth is given the tools they need to fulfill their role. Every person was challenged with a certain task. We come to this world, God says, okay, here is your list of objectives. These are the things you need to accomplish before you die. It's interesting that this is the Gemara that preempts the Talmud, right? It's the piece that preempts the Talmud that discusses what are the questions that they ask you after you pass. Because this is telling you, you know what? Everyone is given the tools they need to accomplish what they have in this world. What their task is. Everyone has a specific task. So, and we've given this example numerous times. You can't, an electrician can't use the tools of a dentist. Right? You give me the right tools, I'll be able to fix your lights. I'll be able to fix it. You can't give me the wrong tools. You can't give a plumber the tools of a carpenter, right? Because it doesn't work, right? I can't use your tools for carpentry, right? The precision tools, right? For plumbing, it doesn't work. Every single human being is given the special tools they need, the special talents, the special skills, the special abilities that they need to accomplish their role in this world. Everyone is given. There's no such thing that a person gets a challenge that they cannot overcome. There's no such thing. Every single person on planet Earth is given a challenge. They're given a task. As they walk in, they're given a certain, they get onto the island, right, Earth, and they're given a task, and God says, listen, I'm giving you this skill, this skill, this skill, this skill, this talent. I'm going to give you this set of parents, this set of credentials, and now go get them. This is your job. When you understand this, you realize how ludicrous jealousy is. What is jealousy? Jealousy is that I'm not happy with my tools. I want someone else's tools. I'm not happy with my share. I want someone else's share. One second. You're missing the big picture. If you understand that you have a specific role in this world and you have a certain job that you need to fulfill, then what do you need someone else's tools for? Why do you need someone else's package? You have your own package. God gave you very special tools, very special set of circumstances. You know, every person here, I assume, was born in a different state, right? You were born in Michigan? You were born? Nebraska. Paris. Houston. Indiana. Alabama.
Israel.
You were born in Florida.
Forgot.
You forgot.
No, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, right? Every one of us was born in a different place. It's unbelievable,
Hey, you and
right? Well, you weren't born in Jerusalem.
I was not born.
I was.
Israel.
Okay, same country. You have people here born in the United States, right? Right?
You don't count.
Right? But every one of us are born in a different place, surprisingly to a different set of parents, with a different set of siblings, with different schools that we grew up in. We had different teachers, and we had different, so some of our teachers were good in one area, some of our teachers were great in another area. Everyone had different experiences. Everyone, all to get us here to one place now, and now we look around the table like, oh, why can't I have a car like that? And why can't I have a watch like that? And why can't I have hair like this? And why can't I have a face like that? And money like this? And success like that? And this experience? Hello? We're coming from totally different places, right? We're coming from a completely different universe. It says that a person, the Gemara in Sanhedrin says this, that a person should always say, Bishvili nivra olam, the world was created for me. Why is it important for a person to say that? A person should always be in the habit of saying, Bishvili, the world was created for me. Because it was. All the set of circumstances that led you to where you are right now is your entire world. It's exactly designed for you to have the experience you have right now. All of those tools, all of those circumstances, everything that was given to you was created specifically for you. Oh, no, I'm just like everybody else. And that's why we live in a society, because when we're children, we have a very unique opinion, right? You go to someone's house. A little child goes to someone's house. You're a guest in someone's house. You bring your little child, and you say, "Here, why don't you have some lox?" And it's special. They made this. They smoked this, or whatever it is. And the child tastes it, and it's like, ugh, it's disgusting. The parents are like, shh, don't say that, right? Don't say that, right? Don't. You're gonna insult the hostess, right? You can't say that. So we're teaching our kids already to have, a filter to the things that there's certain norms, and then when they go to school, it's like you have to behave. We tell our children, like, come on, just be a normal kid like everybody else. We're telling our children constantly, right? Just be like everyone else. Just be like everyone else. And now we're telling them, they come to a torch class, we say, no, be unique, be special, be different, right? And it's very difficult for us to realize, you know what? We're not like everybody else. We are unique, we are special, we are different. And we have, it's an amazing thing. The doctor here will back me up on this, I'm sure. But there is not a human being in the world that just wants to be like another person. Every single human being wants to be unique. Just take two women, put them in the room with the same shirt, right? You come into a wedding and someone's wearing the same gown that you're wearing, right? That wedding is over, okay? Right? That wedding is over. It's funny because you take two guys who walk into the room and they have the same tie, and they're like, how much did you pay for yours? Right? Right?
Yeah,
Right? Okay, but then again, if you have the exact same car, right? The same exact car, right? They're like, I wanted to have something that nobody else has. I wanted this type of wheel and that type of wheel, or different type of watch. You want to one-up somebody, you want to be special. Every single human being wants to be unique. Every single human being has a desire to be unique. That's why you ever wonder, people have people try to. I'm going to say this now in the crazy area, so we can understand it. You can visualize this. But all the punks, they put these earrings. Why do they do these things? Because they want to stand out. They want to be noticed. They want to be purple, pink here. What's wrong with people, right? Why do people do that, right? They do it because they want to stand out. They want to be noticed. Every human being wants to be special.
So
Yes.
I believe that society tries to make people conform to each other. It's
Right,
a lot-
society does.
In school, a lot of the parochial school, they had to wear the same clothes. Usually on Saturdays in the Orthodox, that they were black and white.
Thank you.
They wear black. They don't want to stand out, and that we teach people not to stand out.
Exactly. Just go with the flow and don't rock the boat.
Isn't that the
and
way
be like,
school's done? You do.
That's right, and that's a terrible thing. I will say, I don't want to say all the praise of the Talmud tells us. We'll hopefully get to that Talmud as well. But it says not to praise someone their entire praise in front of them. But my father's right here, so I don't want to give all the praise of my father's incredible.
Can you redo it from there, please? Okay.
But my father, this is one of the things. This is one of the things that my father instilled in us since we were little children, is don't try to go with the flow. Be yourself. Be you. You have your own talents. You have your own abilities. I don't care what everyone else gets on their test. It's a lucky thing he said that, right? Right. I think it was a coping mechanism for him to deal with my tests, right? My test scores. But the truth is that to teach our children, I don't need you to do well on the test because the neighbor's doing well on the test. My grandfather brings the Mishnah. The Mishnah says that there are three things that remove a person from this world. Kin'ah, jealousy, ta'avah, desires and urges, and kavod, the honor, seeking honor. These three things remove a person from this world. People constantly looking for honor. It's not a life. It's not a life. You're constantly looking. Oh, did they mention my name? They didn't write my name on the wall. They didn't write what. Seeking honor is a terrible thing. Jealousy, right? A person who's constantly running after their urges, their desires. So this is not a way to live life. So my grandfather says that these three traits are the flaws of parenting. Parents say, look at the neighbor's kids. Look how they help so nicely to empty out the car. Right? The mother goes shopping and the kids are so well behaved and they clean up their rooms, and whenever I go to their house the kids are so polite. Why aren't my kids like that? So I'm jealous of the neighbor. I'm going to start beating my kids. What's wrong with you? Why don't you, when someone comes into the house, you welcome them just like your neighbor does, right? Be a mensch, be this, right? And then we try to compare our children to the neighbor's children. Look how nicely they sit next to their father in synagogue. Shouldn't my kids sit like that? Sit like a mensch. Sit right. And it's doing a terrible thing because it's not taking into consideration that the children are human beings and they have their own things. And you have to deal, it says, Chanoch lenar al pi darko. Educate the child, raise your child according to his way, according to each child, not according to your way. This is the way. My child's going to be a doctor, whether he likes it or not. Right? What's if the child that's not what the child's tools are? What's if I have a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, he's a doctor, and he's miserable. He's miserable. He told me he would prefer being a garbage collector than being a doctor. He says, I hate my profession. I hate what I do every single day. I said, so why did you become a doctor? He says, my parents gave me no choice. My parents gave me no choice. He says he's miserable. It's a terrible thing. It's a tragedy that someone, and I think he does great work perhaps. I would never, would you want to be a patient to someone who hates being a doctor? Right? I don't know, right? I hope he doesn't share with too many people, but that's a terrible thing, right? Why would we push our children? You know the joke, I've said this so many times already, but these three elderly women are sitting and talking about their children and the success they've had with their, raising their children. So one says, my son is a doctor, he's the head surgeon in Colombia, right? Wow, that's amazing. It's amazing. The other one says, my son is a world famous attorney, right? He's a lawyer. He argues cases in front of the Supreme Court. Wow, that's amazing. The other lady's shying away, and she's like, what is your son? What happened to your son? My son is a rabbi. Oh, what happened? It's like Nebuch, sadly, he failed in everything else. Okay, he'll become a rabbi, right? I can say it, I'm a rabbi, so it's fine. Yes?
A question about conformity, just because when you're talking about that there's a
One second. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol niyeh b'dorei.
Amen. But there's an innate desire for individuality among people, and I just can't, when you're mentioning this, I just was having flashes of those parades that they have specifically, in North Korea, from the time children born. You see in particular, and you've seen this throughout history. You see Nazis walk over, but for some reason, the North Koreans, you talk about people looking almost like clones, and the way
They have to have the same haircuts.
The same
They have the same- There's no individuality. It's a very important thing. It's very.
Do they actually have are they even aware that they have a desire?
They probably don't have an awareness of it, and it's because it's taken away at such a young age. They don't have that. But I want to give you just so we understand this. You're talking about conforming, and being put into a box. So you had a question?
Well, it was about that.
Yeah, that what?
And maybe if someone at the table can, there is a saying, the nail that stands up must be pounded down. And it comes from an Asian culture. The nail that stands up must be pounded down.
That there's no uniqueness. There's
You
no.
Google that.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Can't be different.
Yeah,
Okay, that
but
was
you
all
can't
I
be
had.
different. That's right. And people, it's a terrible thing. It really is a terrible thing that the Torah tells us about the uniqueness. You think about, take about, in Judaism, it says that when the Jewish people counted, when Moshe counted the Jewish people, just a few weeks ago we read this in the beginning of Bamidbar, of the book of Numbers. It's called Numbers. Why? Because the Jewish people are counted so many times again and again and again, right? It says that Moshe collected the coins himself. You know why? Because every human being counted. You are a special, unique individual. Moshe himself collected the coin. And the person would give a half a shekel. What's your name? Where are you from? What tribe are you from? And Moshe would spend time with each individual. It wasn't just, here's a coin, take a coin, take a coin, take a coin. Let's count all the coins. Okay, this is how many Jews there were. It took time. It took time because Moshe spent time with each individual until he ran out of time. So then they had the elders of the tribes, right? They had the leaders of the tribes. But the idea was that you're a human being, you're an individual, you're unique, you're special. You're not just a number, right? In a way, in the United States, our elections, they don't care if you're a professor. They don't care if you're if you're homeless. You have a single vote, and that's what counts. That's not the way it worked with the Jewish people. They wanted to know who you were. Who are you as an individual? And there was an emphasis of each person having a relationship with Moshe, with the leader. Yes?
Well, this other thing popped into my mind. Where was it that it was a rabbi that said, you are unique, you are the whole reason?
Right. Well,
so
so we actually mentioned this in one of our classes, where one of the great students of Rabbi Yisrael Salanter said to his Rebbe, if I had the mind like him, and I had the heart like him, and I had the ambition like him, then I'd be a perfect person. He says, no, with your heart, with your mind, with your ambition, you'll be the greatest you can be. And it's something that we constantly need to reconfirm in ourselves, in our own lives. I'm unique, I'm special. You're the only you there will ever be. You know that you have a unique DNA, a unique fingerprint that only you have. And guess what? From the beginning of all mankind till the end of all mankind, there will never be anyone like you. There'll be no one who looks like you. There'll be no one who has your set of circumstances. No one will have your unique fingerprints and DNA. No one in the history of the world that was or will be. You're the only you there will ever be. That's a very special thing. Right? To just be like someone else. Why would you want to be like someone else?
But we don't perpetuate that.
We need to. The Torah does.
But
The Torah
society does not.
Of course society doesn't, because they just want us
Be
to just...
like him. Why are you not like him?
Exactly.
I heard that a lot.
But-
Why are you not like him?
Right? I think it's a very, very troubling, a troubling thing for our children, if that were to be their
I want to be like Mike.
right. It's funny because, you know, just recent current events, there were two debates this week, and it's interesting that, in a way, everyone is trying so hard to stand out. Right? What do you mean? You have 20 different people on a stage. Shouldn't everyone have their own? No, but we've been put into a same box. Everyone's been put into a box. And everyone is trying...
We're labeled.
Right, and everyone's trying to stand. Why are they trying to stand there? They should stand out just because of who they are. You understand? It's like, we shouldn't need to try to stand out. It should be from the get-go, we should be different. We should be unique. We should be special.
How do we account for Gilgul then, in a situation like this, if we're looking...
Let's leave that out. We'll leave the Gilgul out. We'll leave all that.
Because then we have to live.
Reincarnation. But again, right? But the neshama needs certain perfection and certain things to come together to bring us to our. It's
unique experience with the neshama each time.
look. We need to always be cognizant of the reality of our uniqueness.
And yet we're dust and ashes.
We're what?
Where did I hear that?
No.
In a Talmud class I heard
That's the Mishnah says that. The Mishnah
Mishnah.
says that remember your day of death, right? And that's again, this is all fitting in so beautifully, these different pieces of Talmud here, onto this one page of Tractate Shabbat 31a, right? That you have to always remember you are here for a purpose. And we can get all high and mighty on ourselves. Look how much money I have. Look at my success. Look at my career. Look at my influence. Look at my friends. Look at all of my status, right? Symbols that we have. Whatever it is that we have. And does that make you unique? Does that make you special? That's what it needs to do. It needs to make you not one up someone else.
Right.
Look, let me give you a better example, okay? Let's take Bill Gates, okay? So Bill Gates is worth $100 billion, okay? So he says, you know what? I want to be just like Joe Schmo. Joe Schmo is giving $1,000 to charity. I'm going to match him. I'm going to give $1,000 to charity. What would you say about that?
Cheap.
Like, what?
Well, knowing that Bill Gates
Says I'm gonna
back a
give
lot.
what? But you understand?
It doesn't make sense.
You're trying to be like someone else. What are you trying
Yes,
to?
because-
Guess what? Each one of us are billionaires in our character. One in kindness, and one in patience, and one in happiness, and one we're billionaires, and we're trying to just be like everybody else. Just to get you're happy like this, I'll be happy like this. You're generous like this, I'll be generous like this. No. You're a billionaire. You're not expected to be like someone else. You're expected to be like you. You guys, you getting it? You get it? It's like this is. I think it's so fundamental. Hillel here, back to our Talmud. Hillel is giving him an understanding, right? All of these questions that he's asking, is that he's asking good questions. What's underlying beneath all of these questions? There's a question that he's asking of why. Why are people different? Why do we have all different challenges? Why is every human being so unique? And that's what Hillel is answering him. Hillel is telling him because every person is here for a purpose. Every person is here with a specific task that they need to fulfill. Every person is here with a goal, with an intention that God says, this is what you need to contribute to the world. This is what you need to bring to this world, something, a new light. That's I think the whole lesson that we learn here from Hillel. Don't be like Shammai. Don't be tough as nails, right? The tough as nails, like Shammai. He wouldn't have, right? The Talmud. That's the way the Talmud begins. It says, "Don't be kaptan. Don't be stern and unyielding like Shammai." We need to have a flexibility to see that everyone has their own uniqueness, that everyone has their own specialty. And I think it's probably the most important thing we can give to our children is their sense of they are special.
Developing their ego.
What? Developing their ego, right? Developing it. They should have a healthy self worth. They're special. They're unique.
Yeah. And so that's where what I heard was in Musar classes.
Mm-hmm.
And that is Hasidic Master Rabbi Simcha Buni.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone must have 2 pockets with a note in each pocket so that they can reach into the one or the other depending on the need. When feeling lowly and depressed, discouraged, or disconsolate, one should reach into the right pocket and find the words. For my sake, the world was created.
That's right.
Mishnah Sanhedrin.
That's right.
But when feeling high and mighty, one must reach into the left pocket and find these words, that I am the best and
That's,
best. That's what I
and
was trying to
that's
get.
ethics of our fathers. That's
Yeah,
right.
That's what I thought.
All right, so that is this piece of Talmud. God willing, in the coming weeks, I'm looking forward to many more years of finding these beautiful pieces of Talmud,
that's great.
so
It's
we can
great.
discuss them
Yes.
and be enriched
You know,
every day
where you were
from.
mentioning that
Yes.
Moses was going to each person for the half shekel and so on. Is that from Midrash itself?
Yeah, the Midrash says that every single person had an opportunity to interact with Moses.
I was wondering.
Yeah, but we have to go. Have a safe trip.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good Shabbos.